What's going on, y'all? Nick here, and I'm with my brother.
This is James. How you guys doing? And this is the Eugene Bros. What's
Yeah,
up, Nick? How's your weekend?
it was good, man. Definitely a good weekend. We got a pretty good show today, though. This is called Christian Women Say They're All Single in the Church, but who's really to blame? All right. So, in this video, we're going to answer certain questions, right? Like, is the church setting women up for failure in relationships? Why do so many Christian women feel entitled to the perfect man? And most importantly, who's really responsible for the crisis in Christian dating? All right. So please stay tuned for this good show. But we have this video coming by the way of, let's see, the dating right. So he has a compilation of some women in the church that are pretty much complaining that the church set them up. Let's hear what they have to say.
Why are men not approaching women in the church? Girl, we about to find out. We about to find out. We about to find out today. Like, the Inside Out Singles is about to tell us, the men's edition. They're about to give us the tease as to why men don't approach women in the church.
Attractive black Christian women unmarried? That's the question that bothers me the most. It's not negative. It's a lot. I go into church and see so many straight up fine sisters.
We can survive without a man. We do.
Now, before we go in, please put it in the chat, y'all. Like, why do you believe that there are so many, quote unquote, as Kevin Samuels, you saw the clip of Kevin Samuels saying that there's a lot of fine sisters out there in the church, but yet there's so many that are single. Like, do you believe it's really a situation where men are not approaching them, or do you think it's a much larger issue? James, I see you. Yeah.
All right. So we didn't see the video. We're just reacting for the first time. But there's multiple factors why men are not approaching. There's multiple reasons. If we're going to go based on doctrines, a lot of men are just opting out because they simply don't find the truth in the church. Mm-hmm. They go elsewhere to find the truth, right? Number two, we can talk about how the church don't actually facilitate the interactions of men and women because of this. They create an atmosphere where you're too holy in order to interact with women. You got to be pure. Like they create that atmosphere where it's almost seems like it's taboo or it's like illegal for men to approach women, right? When the biblical understandings of it has always been men interacting with women, right? So they've conditioned the men to be gentle, passive, soft, meek, and not, I like you, I want to date you, and also too, women too, is just like, the guy likes you for your looks, so what? That's a part of life. He's not married. He wants a wife. He wants to know you, but he's going to approach you based on your looks. So don't demonize him if he likes your looks. Stop it. Because the Bible is filled with men that actually like women based on their looks. You got Jacob, you got David, you got Samson, you got Solomon, you got Moses. They tell you they chose they chose their spouse based on looks or whatever the case. The Bible even as far as mentioned that these women were beautiful. Why would the Bible make mention of that? Yeah. Why would the Bible make mention of these women were beautiful? Ruth was beautiful. It's just like, stop with this holier than thou hour. Stop with this fake holiness, and everything will be straight. Everything will be straight. Point blank. Period. What's your
thought? You kind of stole the words out of my mouth. I mean, Jacob, it was very clear that he liked Leah because she was beautiful. Rachel. Thank you for correcting me, Rachel, because she was beautiful, and they said Leah was tender-eyed, right? Like, so we don't know exactly what that means, but we could make the assumption that she wasn't as pretty as her little sister. So these are the kind of things where it's just like there's nothing wrong with it. But let's actually watch some more because we barely went in. So check out what this video has to say. It's
Not negative. It's a lot. I go into church and see so many straight up fine sisters.
We can survive without a man. We do all the time, all over the country for years. We can survive without sexual intimacy. We can survive. We can make it. All right, but we're not satisfied. Okay, I'm not going to say happy because the word happy is not in the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, so it can't be that important. They've made it important to us because we spend money for happiness. All right, and we think it's everybody pick out what they want to have happiness. All right, but as I said, peace is the number one thing that creates happiness and allows all of the other things to grow and happen. But we're very lonely because of our men being so discouraged right now. Okay.
Could you use up to $750?
Yeah,
Find it at
that was the great Sheriff Ali.
Plasma. Get
But I think one thing that's important, worth noting, is that she said the men are discouraged, and what I was thinking about, and I don't want to keep pausing the video because the video is pretty lengthy, but she said the men are discouraged, and I think the Me Too movement had a great deal to do with that, right? Because it's just like there are actual cases where women get raped and things of that sort, and now you have all these other women out there, that's latching on to that movement, obviously Me Too, and it's just like if you just ask a simple question, or you just simply compliment, oh, this person is harassing me, and just like, oh my goodness. And nobody wants to be put out there as the creep or like this guy that, is, I guess, just being odd, right? So a lot of men are just like, you know what, I'd rather not even approach. And now it seems like there's a phenomenon where men are actually waiting more so for the women to approach. Women may find that as, what's the word, I guess, unattractive or maybe weak, whatever the case may be. But I mean, for the sake of the man and his, reputation, he'd rather not even be aligned with anything that has to do with, sexual harassment or anything of that sort. Let's see.
If you know how to slide into my DMs, but you can't slide into the presence of God, you ain't my type. If your prayer life is as inconsistent as your texting game, you ain't my type.
I'm tired of my prayers not reaching God because this thick lady over here in this Shein outfit messing up my prayers. I keep looking. Y'all be too thick to be in the house of the Lord like this. Wear a long skirt. I'm trying to get my prayers up to God, and y'all's, this is not what God wants for me. I'm trying to pray to God, and y'all so thick running by me in that offering table. I'll be like, tapping my home, but look, she's so thick. Oh my God. That's how I know my prayers ain't getting through. Some religions got it right when they put the women over there and the men over there. I get it, because you can't concentrate on God and prayer when this lady smell good and thick. She ain't got no panties on. You in the middle of prayer. You done got chubby a little bit. Your meat done jump like, oh, I see you. I don't need to be like this in church, God. Father, I can't concentrate when there's a thick lady that smell good next to me. I don't even care what her face look like. If she thick, I'm looking.
So a little over a year.
And I want to touch on that real quick before we go any further. What's your thoughts on that, bro? Like that idea where like the men can't concentrate while they in church because the way these women are dressed.
So I get it. You want to focus on God, but you're distracted by women and their beauty and their thickness. But to me, I think we've got church all wrong. Yeah. I think we've got church all wrong from the actual ceremony itself, this whole weekly Sunday gathering. I think we've got the formula all wrong. And this is what's causing this religiosity to permeate into our world. And it's actually causing a division between men and women. And, I think we've got it all wrong. I think we got the formula all wrong. I think we've got the church atmosphere all wrong. I think everything is wrong. And this is what's causing so much confusion and chaos.
Okay,
That's
so
my
explain,
opinion.
elaborate. What do you mean all wrong?
Yo, if you go to church, they're supposed to read you out the commandments, so that way you remember it on a weekly basis. You sing, whatever it is that you sing. But remember, in the Bible was very specific. You had weekly gatherings, and then you had feast days where you could sing and do all of that to the Lord. The weekly gathering is just reading of the law so you can understand God's commandments, and that's it. It's not supposed to be this drawn out, spectacle and entertainment. It's just like you come to church, fellowship, all right, and then the fellowship is where the men and the women are supposed to mingle. This is where they're supposed to mingle. And plus they have this whole idea of this, they use that one selective verse to show, the bishop and the deacon, he must have one wife, all of this nonsense. But the formula is all wrong. And because the formula is wrong, this is why the atmosphere is wrong. And this is why men can't find women and women can't find men. Point blank, period.
Well, I'll say this, man. To address this portion in particular, like look at the girl on the screen, right? Like I think the girl, she's clearly caked up, right? And my thing is like when you dress that way, I think there's a huge hypocrisy on behalf of the women, right? Like because these women, you kind of saw it before, and bless you, my brother, House of Lamar, shalom to you. And same for you, Johnny X Torpedo. But I see like these women say, I want a godly man. I want a God-fearing man, a godly man. Okay, yada, yada, yada. And, this is a man who is going to put the Most High first and things of that sort. And we get that. That's all, that's a textbook godly man, right? But if you hear and you dress this way, and this is what the guy, he was making a lot of jokes, but come on, yo. Like, I don't care how godly you are. Your eyes are going to clearly see that. Like, and the thing is, it's skin tight. Nah. I see your face, bro. I'm not accepting nothing, man. That girl she wilding out from the jump. She's dressed that way. It's just like, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down. And then the thing is, because here's the thing, right? It talks about fleeing temptation. So how the hell are you going to put that in a man's face? I don't care how godly he is. Even as godly as, as godly as Benjamin was, not Benjamin, Joseph was, he ran away from Potiphar's wife. You're not supposed to be just sitting up in an environment where that thing is all in your face like that.
But hold on. If I put money in front of you, you telling me you can't resist that money?
No, bro, we're not talking about you can't resist.
No,
I'm talking about
no. Here's the logic I'm trying to say. Here's the logic I'm trying to present. I actually do believe that single women and married women should dress differently. If you're single, you're supposed to dress a certain way to attract men, to show that you're single. If you're married, you dress a certain way so that way you distinguish yourself from the single woman. Whether you whether you have a ring, whether you have a veil, whether you put on a wig, whether you put on a niqab like the Muslim people, there gotta be a difference. Now,
okay, is the difference wrapped around your waist?
Hold on. Now, we live in modern society. Okay. If these women are caked up looking like this, clearly they want a man. They've been praying for a man, so they should have the man's supposed to approach them to remove them from that condition so they can dress modestly, and because they're wifed up now.
Okay, pause. Okay, fine.
I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm gonna take a different approach to this.
Cool. I like the pushback. So now let's suppose they dress this way. Now, if a man approached them, right? Now, what if they hit you with, oh, he's only looking at me for my body. He's only lusting after me and all that stuff. This is what I mean. Where it's like they asking for what they're asking for, and what they receive is totally opposed. You see, because I would venture to say, and you have Hassan Lamar, he said, completely disagree. Put what you believe, Hassan Lamar, because I actually agree with you to an extent, my brother James, right? I do believe there's a difference, right? I believe the head covering that we see in the Bible is mostly for a wife, right? The young daughters of Zion, there was no requirement on them to really wear a head covering. So that shows you the status right there. I don't think the status has to be around the waist. When you see something like this is clearly attention seeking. That's all it is. They want validation. And the thing is, for a godly man to avert his attention from the sermon, from praising the Lord, to go look at that, and you in front of everybody, you tripping, you wilding out. I think that's out of order.
Hey. You got eyes to see, right? You seek and you find, right? So if you like what you see, you go after what you see. Now, if you're stupid enough to go only based on what you see, then that's on you. This is why you got to interrogate, question, understand, and get to know somebody based beyond the looks and compatibility, so you can find out compatibility. Yeah, Understand this. I get it. You want women to dress more modestly. I get that. I understand that, because you don't want to entice lust. I get that. However, let's keep it a buck. There's single men out there and there's single women out there. They should get married. Like, beauty is part of what you want. Let's keep it 100. You see, and this is the problem with the church. They're not honest with themselves, and this is why they keep disappointing themselves. You want a man because of his physique and for his financial resources, and the man wants you because of your beauty and your personality, or whatever the case may be. Let's stop with this religiosity. You get what I'm saying?
I get you. There's a lot to this video, so let's keep it moving.
Not what God wants for me. I'm trying to pray to God, and y'all so thick running by me in that offering table. I'd be like, tapping my homeboy, like, look, she's so thick. Oh my God. That's how I know my prayers ain't getting through. Some religions got it right when they put the women over there and the men over there. I get it, because you can't concentrate on God and prayer when this lady smell good and thick. She ain't got no panties on. You in the middle of prayer. You done got chubby a little bit. Your meat done jump like, oh, I see you. I don't need to be like this in church, God. Father, I can't concentrate when there's a thick lady that smell good next to me. I don't even care what her face look like. If she thick, I'm looking.
So a little over a year ago, I ended a relationship, and I was single again. And somebody told me these words. Next time you're dating again, wait on God's blessing. Wait on God to give you a way to that man. Of course, you're going to still be in a relationship with God, but it's different when you're married. He has to give away single you to a man. Okay? You wait on God. Yes. Just like your earthly father is gonna give you away at your wedding, your heavenly father. It's gonna give you away.
God bless.
I see you shaking. What's up, man?
Nonsense. All the patriarchs gave away their daughters to the man. This is what I'm trying to say here. You got fathers. If your father is a man of God, he's supposed to direct you to where you need to go. Like, what is up with this? Your father is supposed to give you away to the man. We see
Yeah,
this in the Bible.
yeah. I just think that they over spiritualize the shit. Like they make it way too hocus pocus. Like like the Most High gonna come down and you're gonna hear audible voice and all that shit. It's just like, nah, man. Just follow the protocol. It's already outlined, like you said, in
But
the
this is
law.
but this is what I'm saying. They're making it too complex. You have a daughter, I have a son. I see your daughter is in the church. She believes in God. My son has believes in God too. Your daughter come from a good stock. My son come from a good stock. Let's make it happen. That's it.
Right. Nah, I agree. All right.
It's gonna get you away.
God bless a lot of the Christian women out here because they are a faithful, hopeful community. A lot of these women do feel like all they got to do is just stay prayed up, doing the right thing, and eventually they will meet their husband. Now, I do believe that a lot of these women will find husbands in marriage one day, but let's be real, a lot of them won't.
I'm almost afraid to make this video because I know it's going to be some backlash. But I'm starting to believe that the church is keeping Black women single on purpose. I am starting to believe that the Black church is keeping Black women single.
I want to challenge you to create a 300
Now hear that, chat? Do you think the church is keeping Black women single? Let's hear. Let's hear.
% live.
And what I mean by that is, I want to believe in my heart of hearts that when churches have Women's Day, have women's conferences, when you go to these women empowerment, conferences, and they are allowing people to be vulnerable and transparent, and they are sharing how they healed from certain things and how God's word helped them to heal, which is true. I'm trying to figure out why we are almost intentionally leaving out that God's word also says that a man is a woman's covering, and a husband is part of, or should be part of, an honorable, godly life. None of that is ever mentioned in a lot of these spaces. There are more women in the church than men. I don't have a problem with women being in leadership because that's needed today. But when I'm watching women that are in positions of power and in positions of leadership in the church, but I'm not hearing you talk about how important the family structure is and how important a covering is and how a woman is created to be a helpmeet and a neck, and the man is supposed. When I don't hear those things talked about almost intentionally, is that because I want these women single?
So it's interesting about what this woman in particular said. I actually agree, and I agree and disagree. I don't think that if there's a woman in leadership, which is I don't see no scriptural proof for that. The most I could see is Deborah, and even Deborah told Barak, "Yo, you need to be in front, straight up." And I think there are too many women in positions of leadership. But to her credit, she said it. If this woman is not actually explicitly telling you that the man needs to be in the head, that you need to submit to this man, that you need to be under his mission, right? That's what submission is. If they're not teaching you that, you being set up for failure, because again, you're asking for a godly man. And now at that point in time, you gotta line up. You have a whole archive called the Bible of quote unquote godly men. And which one of them was being led by a woman? Which one? Because if you're asking for something, just know what you're asking for. Ain't no godly man gonna be led by a woman. If the moment you start leading, the moment you women, you start opening your mouth and you trying to boss him around, you're gonna lose this godly man. He's not gonna put up with it. Godly men, they're extremely masculine. The whole book was patriarchal. So just know what you're asking for if you want this quote unquote godly man. What does it say for you, bro?
The women are single because they have too much requirements. They want Jesus. They don't want a man. That's who they want. They want Superman and they don't want a real man. That's what it is. They got too much requirements, and this is what's keeping them single. Point blank is simple. I told you the whole formula is wrong. Everything is wrong.
Am I the only one that is starting to feel this way?
Oh, there's a lot of truth in what she just said. I actually saw a post that said churches control the mother, the prisons control the father, and the schools control the children. You will not hear nothing in church about the family structure because they still want to present it to these black women like, oh, it's okay that you're single. You can go on being single and still be happy and live your life without a man. No, they don't want to talk about nothing except for that building fund that those women need to keep adding to every month. They are not encouraging the family unit in these churches.
The church is keeping Christian women single, and this is why there are so many Christian single women at the church, literally single for years, not getting married, not getting any type of dates, not getting any type of attention. While they are serving at church, they're doing all the right things on paper. They might be in great physical shape. They might have their healing journey all, through and through. They're doing the inner work. They're doing all that. They are focused. They are focused on Christ. They've been focused on Christ for years. They have been doing the things that people have been telling them to do for years, yet they're still single, have no candidates, have nobody looking in their direction. Let me tell you something. The church does not teach Christian women how to date. The church does not teach Christian women to date at all. What they tell us to do is to sit with our hands in our laps and to wait for a man to come at our door. That is not biblically wise. Faith without works is dead, and that applies to every area of our life. If you have a job and you lose that job, are you just going to sit and pray for God to send you a new job and then just stay at home and not apply for a single job? No. If you lose your job, you're going to pray, Lord, please bless me with another job. Of course, there's the faith, but then after that, you're going to go searching for a job. You're going to be applying for jobs, and you're going to pray that God will bless you with the right job. If all you're doing is sitting at home doing 1,000 prayers for your future spouse, you are fasting, you are praying, you're doing all these other things, but you're not actually putting any practical works into dating, more times than not, you are not going to find your spouse.
Those are the only dating talking points that they have for these women.
Yeah, she was cooking. She was cooking.
Finally, somebody with common sense. Finally, something I can resonate with.
Yeah.
Faith without works is dead. Yo, you want to lose weight? You go to the gym and put in that work to lose the weight. If you want to find a man, you got to put in that work. And the thing is, the pastors got to teach the men, yo, put in that work. Go find a woman. They right there. Create the atmosphere for them to actually mingle.
Man, I want to touch on that, right? Because I was thinking about, women, how they use the phrase Boaz. Like, I want to find my Boaz. And the thing is just like Ruth, right? Was the one that, she bowed down at the feet of Boaz. She lay at his feet. And this is the kind of stuff where it's just like, I think there's this perception where the man, they want the man to always pursue. But it's just like, and I get it. Trust me, I get the verse that says, if a man shall find a wife, he finds a good thing. I get it. I'm not saying that a woman should be thirsty, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with a woman letting it known that they clearly like a man. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you really like this dude, let it be known. I mean, the man was sleeping, Boaz. And this dude wakes up and sees a woman at his feet. If that's not sending choosing signals, I don't know what the hell is. You get what I'm saying? Like, women, stop with all this hocus pocus, this over spiritualization, and that, I'm gonna just pray, or I'm gonna do. And this is what the passive stuff they do. They probably walk in front of the man, and they look like busybodies. They're always walking around because they want to be seen, right? And it's just like, stop that noise. Just simply talk to this dude. Make it known. Even, what was it, Naomi? She was like, hey, she was promoting it. Like, Ruth, go ahead. You like the guy, go ahead. Talk to the dude.
That's what I'm saying. Cook the nigga some food. Cook it like, that's a big sign. Be like, yo, I like you. I'm interested in you. I thought you might like this food, for whatever the case may be. Come on. Use your feminine charms, your feminine gifts, your skills. Like, come on. That's what I'm saying. The formula is all wrong.
They just tell these women to simply pray about a husband, wait for your husband to come. Oh, God is preparing you for your husband. It's not your time yet, but soon will be your time. And this is the kind of stuff that they're telling them. Check this out.
Has it not occurred to you that maybe your no's and rejection are because God is trying to direct you to the person he has for you? Have you thought that maybe you're not in a relationship because you're not ready for one? Maybe it's taking longer because God is dealing with you and working out some things inside of you that he doesn't want you to carry into your marriage. God is saying, slow down, be still, and listen to my voice. Singles, your status does not mean you are not whole or incomplete. Your husband does not mean that you are whole or incomplete. When you seek the Lord, you are whole and complete.
My sound was too quiet, even at 100%.
Nah.
Volume up to 600.
But the truth is, yeah, you saying nah?
No. This is another way to justify to stay single. This is another way to justify it. Again, these people in the Bible had a specific culture. The Western culture is incompatible with this ancient biblical culture. Again, these women were taken because they had order. Parents agreed and arranged their marriages. Now today we don't do that. That's the problem. Everybody think they can do things on their own and sidestep their family and their culture. That's the problem. And now they're gonna use these fancy, smancy words to justify why you're single. Oh no, you waited too long. Oh, you gotta wait on God. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. No. If you're of age, the parents know better and they hook you up. We don't have that culture any longer, and this is why we're fractured from that mindset. That's the problem. We're trying to take a cultural book and not live by what it says, and now we're trying to impose our own modern day culture in it, and this is why they're single.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk to anybody.
Yo, you don't talk to anybody.
You don't talk to men just because you're single, and they sold you this lie of, oh, it would just come. You need to stop worrying about that. Just serve the Lord. And if you get busy and you pretend like you don't want marriage, then it's going to come. We don't give this advice for anything else. If someone wants a higher paying job, no one says to be idle. They say, keep applying, position yourself in the job market, right? Until it happens. Even if you get rejected by one company, does that mean that
the church is contributing to women's singleness? And
yeah, I mean, they speak in truth. I think the thing is too, the girl, and I should have probably said it before, but the woman that was speaking, I don't know, she looked like she was in some position of leadership, and she was reading from her phone. But the problem is just like she's speaking from both sides of her mouth. She's saying to one end where there's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean that you incomplete or you're not whole because you're not having a man. But the thing is, there's an account in Judges, and it was Jephthah. And Jephthah, he pretty much went to war, and he told the Most High, Father, if you help me win this battle, when I come back home, the very first thing that I see, I'm going to sacrifice it unto you. The Most High helps him win, and the very first thing he sees when he gets home is his daughter. And now he has to sacrifice his daughter. And you know what's so crazy? The daughter told the father, Father, whatever you vowed unto the Most High, let it be done. However, just give me a month to bewail my virginity. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because notice she took a whole month to wail, meaning cry, mourn about her dying as a virgin. And that was a custom in Israel. Why am I bringing this up? Because when you minimize this idea, like, oh, you don't need a man to be whole. Look, of course we need Jesus, y'all. Let's not be too religious here. Of course, you don't need to get married. But when you look at the Bible in terms of what it promotes, it was always promoting marriage. The first command was be fruitful and multiply. Well, you're not going to be fruitful with somebody that's not your husband, right? With somebody that's not your wife, right? So we need to actually come together. This notion that, oh, you're not incomplete, you're not whole, what it is deflection. is causing you not to look in the mirror to see what areas I need to improve in, what areas I need to grow in, because you probably are in failed relationships, many of you, because you never did the self-introspective work. You didn't work on yourself. You probably boring as, you probably don't know how to hold a conversation. You probably, for the men, you probably didn't do the self-improvement. You probably didn't work on your finances. You didn't work on your weight. You didn't work on all these things that you should have worked on to actually create a home that is conducive for growth. And now here you are, you're going to cry to the Most High and say, Father, how come I can't find nobody? Well, you're not putting in the work. And all you're doing is just praying about it. Tell me anybody who just prayed on it and a woman just came. Who the hell did that? If somebody, please in the chat, name me one person in the Bible that prayed for a wife and the woman just came from the sky. Explain that to me. Man, this is crazy. Peaches B. Jordan, you said, where's that story found, Aki? Let me show it to y'all real quick, man. Bear with me now.
And after
Yeah,
this,
go ahead. Go ahead.
can I show a verse?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I'm gonna share my screen, right?
Oh, you need to share your screen? All right, cool.
I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm gonna read this one verse. Can you see me?
I can see you in the screen. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I don't need to read the whole context, but listen, this is Deuteronomy 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages unto them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter thou shalt not take unto thy son. What does that mean exactly? Thy son. Don't give your daughter to them. Don't give your son to them. What does that mean? What's the implications of that? Think about that. It means the parents is supposed to give their sons and daughters to the appropriate wife or husband. That's what it means, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, go ahead.
Think about it. Am I wrong, Nick, in this interpretation?
Nah, go ahead. You could go ahead.
Yeah, so the thing is, your parents is supposed to make these marriages for you when you're of age, right? So this is how you get married.
Yeah.
This church is, again, this is why the church is failing. This is why the church is failing, because they think they're being holy. They think they're practicing a form of righteousness, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
So let me see. Peaches B. Jordan. So this is Judges 11. All right, Judges 11. Let me show you. Judges 11. Right. I'm reading from the KJV, and this is verse 37. Again, read it in context, all of you. But you can see right here, let me zoom in. It says, and she said unto her father, let this thing be done for me. Let me alone. Oh, 2 months. Excuse me, y'all. 2 months that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, and I and my fellows. All right. Time would fail me to read the whole account. But again, the only reason why I brought it up is because it was a huge thing in Israel if a daughter did not get married. It was not some trivial thing. It was not that, oh, my life is just giving on to the Lord. No. They wanted to get married, and they spent a whole 2 months wailing, mourning, crying over it. So let's not get too religious, y'all. Now let's get back to the actual video.
And this is something that I'm very passionate about, so I'm going to share some things with you. When I say the church, I mean the body of Christ in the building. This does not mean the entirety of all church people, all church folks, all Christians. There's a small percentage of believers in churches that actually contribute to helping women learn how to date, to actually pushing people together for kingdom marriages, and etc. When I say this, I'm not addressing those people whatsoever, because they're actually doing what they should be doing to help kingdom marriages come together. But for the other large percentage, we are being told as women to just wait and sit and serve, and wait and sit and serve, The reason I'm upset about it is because there are women that are doing exactly that, waiting, sitting, and serving for years, some 10 years, some 12 years, some even longer than that. But because all they've been taught is to wait and sit and serve and to never actually try to do anything on the dating market, they're watching people pass them by, getting married left and right, praying all the prayers, doing all the right things on paper, and quite literally losing hope. It hurts me to see a woman wait for years and years and years and years and years, getting so discouraged, and then finally giving up on the idea of ever getting married, all because they've been taught wrong. I think a large percentage of the women of God that actually do desire marriage could be married right now if they actually knew the practical steps according to dating. People are saying that it's not the church's job to teach us, but it is, because if we're not learning this from the body of Christ, we're going to learn it from the world. And you can't say it's not the church's job to teach us, but then tell us that we need to be single and wait and wait and wait and wait. It doesn't make sense.
The Black church is focused.
You know, that girl, I think she said some good points. The only thing to add, I think, is that, like, I don't agree with the whole dating aspect. There's nowhere at all. Shalom to you, Danny. Bless you, my brother. There's no place at all in the Bible that talks about dating. Now, courting, right, which is the word, it was between married couples. The only time you see courting taking place was Abraham was already married to Sarah. Isaac was already married to Rebecca. You don't see courtship prior to marriage. So this dating aspect, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, you know, we should be dating." I don't agree. But
the thing is, though, you have to do that. You have to create your own standards when you don't follow God's standards.
Right.
God already has a protocol already, but they don't want that. That's why I said this cultural Bible is fundamentally incompatible with this modern day mindset and modern day culture. This is why they're all single. And this is why I kept saying they all out of order.
Right.
And there's some beautiful women out there. My goodness, like, who would not want to, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And wait. It doesn't make sense.
The Black church's focus is not on building families. It's about keeping women single, comfortable, independent. I said what I said. Just look at the numbers. The church is 70 to 80% single women. And the pastor want to sell these women this fairy tale, telling them that your Boaz is coming. Keep waiting, knowing good and well that there isn't any single men in the congregation. And that's low-key manipulation. Because the men aren't flocking to the churches because the churches are catered to women. The sermons shame men and pamper women. The programs be women brunches, women conferences, women's night. The churches know who paid the tithes. It's the women.
I thought I knew what therapy was
Yeah.
until I found the right.
True.
You game change.
So they selling the women these dreams while cashing their checks. You gotta ask yourself, if the church is really about family, why is it full of single mothers, single women, and empty of men? Because the Black church needs the women single, desperate, and waiting. Because if you had the family that you prayed for, then they wouldn't be able to get.
Part one, starting off. When I say the church, I mean the body of Christ and the building, okay? It is not one or the other, it's both, because both contribute to this conversation. You go to church, 9 times out of 10, people are just saying, just wait. As long as you're serving in your purpose, you go to church, you go home, eventually your man is going to run into you. That's not true. You cannot be found if you are in hiding. And you just staying on the same rotation path every single day. You've been going to the same church for 5 years. You know everybody in that building. This is not going to get you found. Just because it worked for one person that you heard a story from one time does not mean that this is going to be your story. Secondly, y'all are saying it's not the church's responsibility to teach us how to date. I'd like to argue that it actually kind of is. If we're not listening to our brothers and sisters in Christ on how to date, we're going to be learning it from the world. We both know how that would go. So yeah, we do need to learn this from the kingdom. People are saying that dating is not biblical. I disagree, because the only way to get married is to date. You're not going to go up to the married couple at church and tell them that their dating season was unbiblical. But why are we telling this to singles? Courting and dating is the same thing. We always try to bring this up and make an argument, but it's not. Y'all only know dating from the world's perspective, and that's why you think that dating is bad. If you actually know how to date as a kingdom woman, you have boundaries and standards and preferences and whatnot, you're not going to be dating like the world.
Yes, that's
Yeah, you know, again, I get it. And, you know, I don't want to be a hypocrite because, I'll throw myself on the sword. I did date before I found my wife. So I'm going to keep it a buck. However, if I don't think it was necessary. I actually agree with what you said, James. Like, if we were to do this thing the right way, it would have just been much easier had our parents spoken to each other and then just set us up. You know what I'm saying? We didn't need to do any of that. And I'll go even furthermore. I took out so many women on these extravagant dates, and it just for it to lead to nothing. It was just a waste of money. By the time I found my wife, when I said we dated prior to marriage, I mean, we walked around the block and talked. And that ended up in an actual marriage, as opposed to spending all hundreds of dollars on this concert and this thing and movie dates and all. Nah, bro, y'all don't need none of that.
Again, you see, the thing is, right, is there's so much things I can address, but I just want to I'm gonna try to be succinct as possible. We already touched the cultural aspect and the cultural differences and why it's kicking our asses today. But we also have to address that the church itself is not what God wants, the way it's structured today. And this is why everybody's having this out of order nonsense. Look at what happened. Look at the divorce rates, because we choose our own mates. Look at the divorce rates. People think love is this Disney movie, this romance, this feeling. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's the problem. You see, this is why when you have arranged marriages, which many people will protest to their own hurt and to their own demise, right? Me, I'm indifferent. Whether you have love marriages or arranged marriages, it don't matter to me. All that matters is that you're equally yoked. But again, this is why these families interacted with each other, because these families were already equally yoked. Think about it. The 12 tribes of Israel was already equally yoked, and they already had a foundation that I can trust you, you can trust me, because we are the same mindset and stock, and we follow the same commandments. It should be the same thing with the church.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to another family and they say they're Christian, there shouldn't be any, what denomination are you? What do you believe? There shouldn't be none of that stuff. And I could easily give away my son to their daughters or my daughter to their sons. And this whole idea of love is justice. That's all it is. If you love somebody, you treat them fairly. That's why Christ said, treat others the way you would treat yourself. That's what love is, right? If you love yourself, you treat yourself with fairness and kindness. That means there's certain things you will abstain from, right? You want to drink, you want to smoke, you treat your body fairly. It's the same thing with other people. If you love somebody, you treat them with kindness, compassion, gentleness, and fairness. It's not about feelings. It's about virtues. That's the fruit of the Spirit.
Yep.
Man.
It's very true. A lot of these Baptist Christian churches, they pretty much are teaching feminism up in there. They pretty much are teaching women to stay to themselves, don't date, no sex before marriage, practice celibacy. They having these worship services, hypnotizing these women, selling them fairy tales that, a man just gonna magically appear to their door one day. They don't have to leave their house. They don't have to go out. No, God is preparing a man for you, and you don't have to do anything. You just got to sit back and get ready for that man to show up. He will eventually show up. These women grow old to 60, 70 years old, ain't found a man yet.
So I saw a video of a woman, and she said that the church is keeping Black women single. And I just want to put in my 3 cents, because I watched the entirety of the video and I actually agree with what she's saying in the video. I just don't agree with her blaming the church. The church is not trying to keep Black women single. Society is. And what's happening is too much of the world is being allowed in the church. It's not the church, it's the world. But the world is currently dominating the church.
Imagine bringing your side project to life.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
I'm with it so far. I'm with her.
And when I say that, what I mean is that the devil is running rampant And we are living in a time where so many things are being normalized that the structure of the church is being weakened to allow spiritual warfare. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. I'll say it because I said it before and I'll say it again. The Jezebel spirit is running rampant in this generation. I am 24 years old. The amount of women that no longer want to get married, no longer want to have children, want to be the head of household, don't want to submit to anyone, is the numbers are astronomical. And the proof is even in that woman's comments, because we have women creating this ideology of decentering men when the center should be God to begin with. And if you omit the black man from the black household, the black community dies. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Something that I learned, I was probably like 13 years old. I was at this conference. Why I was there, I don't know. Shout out to my grandma. And this woman, she said something and it stuck with me. She said, if you want to know if something is wrong, ask yourself, if everyone was to do it, would humanity still be able to go on? So I'm going to ask you a question. If every black woman decided that a black man wasn't needed, that children were not needed, that family were not needed, what would happen? Now, this is not for me to say that everyone has to be married and everyone has to have children. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that the numbers, the way that it's going, it's like, okay, if you have a call to abstinence over your life, cool. Celibacy, whatever the case may be, if you're meant to be alone, there's nothing wrong with that. But the same women who don't want a man in the house wants a man in their bed.
Now that's a very interesting angle.
Ooh, she's cooking. She ate with that one. She ate with that one.
Nah, she did.
She ate with that one. The same men that you don't want in your home, you want in your bed. Wow, out of order.
Yeah,
out of order.
That was. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to even. I don't want to add to nothing to that.
To this conversation too. Could it possibly be the too much of the world is being allowed into the church? I guess she's meaning that a lot of the church.
And I want to touch on that real quick because I think she was speaking on that as well, right? Like, I don't know if shout out to Dayton Wright. I think that was his YouTube channel. But notice, I love the I guess the B-roll he had while the woman was speaking, because you could see like the chefing it up, the people dancing. And I'm not being too religious. I'm not saying that people can't dance and people can't listen to the modern stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I think it lends to the argument that a lot of the world is creeping into the church, right? Like, they bring in a lot of the customs that they seen in the world. So like from the dress, from the music to the dance. Like, there was a scene, I didn't pause it because again the video is kind of long, but like you go into some of these churches and it's just like, it looks like a straight up concert. It looks like a straight up worldly concert. And if it was not for the things being said, like if I had only seen the video without no audio, I would have said, what's the difference between that and any other concert, like a Beyonce concert? You would not know. It looks literally just like the world. And I think that's the thing where it's just like, that's why even what that girl was saying about the whole dating aspect, right? That's a worldly custom that you're bringing in. It doesn't work.
History repeats itself over and over and over again, right? God gave his people a custom and a culture and a heritage. And guess what they said? We don't want that. We want to be like other people. Isn't that what they said? They want to be like other people. And God said, no problem. You're going to be like other people, but these are the consequences for your actions. It's the same thing. This is what I've been preaching from the beginning. Everything is out of order. You have one culture, right? But you don't want that culture. You don't want it. You think you're too good for this culture. So you decide to make your own rules, create your own culture, and now you got to deal with it. That's it. This is all I've been preaching the whole time.
House of Lamar said, I said that earlier, LOL. And going to that message, you said, those women are still having sex. Do not let them lie to you. Pookie clapping in on Tuesday, and she will be at Bible study Wednesday night. Hey, yo, you're right, man. You straight up right. Let's keep going, y'all.
Leaders are compromising just so they can get more members in the church. A lot of these churches are not actually standing on traditional Christian standards or values. They just trying to fill up the seats. And of course, they're just trying to fill up the seats.
I hate when I'm talking to a woman and then I find out she's a Christian. And it's really tough because I love Black women. But Black women, especially in America,
every time I hit a bottleneck, I build a new AI employee to crush that I had one AI employee working.
Tend to be Christian. And it's just like, fuck, man. Like, I can't get away from this shit, man. I can't get away from this fucking shit, bro. And I used to be like way more open-minded when it came to like dating a Christian woman, but as time has gone by, I realized it's not something I want because I hate to have serious conversations and then God gets brought up. And then it just feels like, ugh, none of this even matters what you're saying now. Like,
I'm a little frustrated.
We start to keep cutting it off, but that's what I said in the beginning, right? Like, you can't hold a conversation. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, the Most High Yah is the centerpiece of our life. We get it. But like, damn, if I'm speaking to you about current events, you can't for the moment be present and not always bring up God or bring up Jesus. Like, is that like?
Hey Nick, it's the end times prophecy. These current events, end times.
Oh, it's end time. You see, yeah, man. And don't get me wrong. Like these people. I think a lot of times too it's like the clip in the beginning, right? Remember that girl just like, oh, if your texting game is like such and such, like she was trying to relate everything to the Bible and she's trying to be funny, but it's just like, chill, woman. Like, damn, like talk about something else. Like, talk about your hobbies. And don't say going to church. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, talk about something else. But these women, I'm telling you, it's like, it's really dull to speak to them. And, I feel for that young brother. He said that I felt the pain when he said that when I found out they Christian, he's just like, fuck. And it's just like, I felt that F word because it's just like, think about it, yo. It's just like, all the religiosity, a lot of these men, they opting out. They're not rocking with it. And we didn't even touch that. But like the doctrine, a lot of these brothers are very well informed. They starting to educate themselves. And now they like, yo, the doctrine is off any damn way. So I don't even want to sit up in this congregation.
Let's keep it a buck. The church does not help Black men, period. They don't help Black men with education. They don't help Black men find jobs. They don't help Black men find wives. The church is useless to men. It's useless to men. This is why men are not coming. It's useless. Yeah. All they do is flap their lips, sing praises, and the pastor collects money and he buys a jet. That's all they do. They're useless to men. You don't give men direction. You don't teach them stocks. You don't teach them how to invest, how to save. You don't teach them how to, harness your skills. You don't teach them that.
Yeah.
And you don't even teach them the commandments.
It's done away with.
It's done away with.
Yeah.
It's not something I want because I hate to have serious conversations and then God gets brought up. And then it just feels like, ugh, none of this even matters what you're saying now. Like,
I'm a little frustrated with God. I am now. We're just all coming off of watching Forever, right? I'm 24, very much a late bloomer. I've never experienced a relationship. Definitely have had the desires to. And I think as I've gotten older, as I've gotten more spiritually mature, there are three things that I have been wanting and looking for. Number one, to be chosen. And when I say to be chosen, I mean romantically chosen. I've been the girl who, a guy will say he likes me, but because I'm not doing this, that, and the third, he go date my friend. I've been the girl who's out with the girls and all of us look good, but I somehow am not the girl that's getting the looks, but then I get the, the sidebar, side wing, like sidekick, pity conversation. To be chosen, to be seen, not just for my body, because we know body is tea, not just for my beauty, but for me, the bubbly, loving, nurturing person. And then 3, to be loved. And so as I've grown spiritually in Christ, I know that all of those things need to come from the Lord first. And they already have. It's just I have to accept it. And I think that I'm getting there. I'm be fully transparent. It's not that I haven't, but it's also hard when you are in your 20s, you're young, your friends are in different stage. Everybody's in a different stage. They're getting into relationships. So your friend on relationship number 5 and you on 0 that are getting engaged now because you're in your mid 20s. You have friends that are already married, having kids. It's just like, when is it going to be my turn? I know that I can love somebody. I know that I can accept love. But one thing I do know from Miss Taylor Lindsay is I'm not accepting bare minimum. Because if those are the 3 things, to be seen, chosen, and loved.
This is how you can lose the weight the way you want. Weight loss by him.
Yo, it's crazy. Shout out to Danny, because Danny kept saying that the ads are coming in like clutch, but the ad is saying, in order to lose weight and all this other stuff. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, maybe you could work on yourself a little bit more. Like, if you always out with your friends and you always the one that's not being chosen or whatever the case may be, maybe there's something going on there, like, I don't know. I feel for her though. I feel for her because to an extent.
Honestly,
go ahead.
Honestly, it's not even about the girls needed to do anything. Like, it's the whole foundation. Like the verse that come in my mind right now is Isaiah 4 verse 1. In that day, 7 women will lay hold of 1 man. That's how badly the church is messing up. In that day, 7 women will lay hold of 1 man. They have their own clothes. They have their own, they could buy all of the things that they want, but they only want the name of that man to remove the reproach. That's it. That's how badly the church is messing up.
No, bro. We in a monogamous only culture. So stop trying to promote that. Rip that part of the Bible out.
Bro, the church is driving women to polygamy. They driving women to polygamy. In that day, 7 women will lay hold of 1 man. You see, and that's the thing. The church is messing up so bad, people are going to be forced to accept the truth in all its dimensions. In all its dimension. Hold up. To make things even worse, Jesus Christ, he said the bridegroom was about to marry 10 virgins. You got a problem. The bridegroom was about to marry 10 virgins. It was 5 of them that was unwise and 5 of them that was wise. And Jesus, in that parable, said, you know what? Let me take the 5 because they were wise.
That's what I'm saying. And his intent was to marry 10 regardless. And even in the worst case scenario, he still ends up in polygamy because he ends up 5. He ends up with 5. Nah,
ain't Jesus about to marry the church?
There's a bunch of us, bro.
What the church is? Isn't it millions of people? Sure. It don't fit that. It don't fit that theology. It don't fit that doctrine.
It don't.
I need the guy who is him, for real, who I'm going to open my heart up to, who I'm going to like, who I'm going to spend time with, to do those things. And the truth of the matter is that on one hand, I know spiritually, like, that person for me has to go through Christ to get to me. They have to do the work spiritually and also do the work in the natural, like really plan dates, really.
Just quick. They always notice the man has to get through Christ. How about you get through Christ? Maybe you off. Maybe you are. It's always putting it off on someone else. Maybe you the one that's off. Is this what I'm saying?
Court me, really pursue me. And it's not about chasing. This is about effort. This is about really proving that I don't just want you for your body. Because I am the girl. I've been the girl. Where men are attracted, they're intrigued, they are curious about Miss Girl, but somehow it's just not enough. Or I'm not, I don't want to say I'm not enough, but these are the thoughts that sometimes go through our heads as women. Something's not adding up to where they want me. They want to touch, but they don't want to date me. I don't get it.
So you have a degree, you have a good job, and you love God, but you're still single. Let me break down the truth that nobody want to tell you. A lot of women says there are no good men left. They're waiting on their Boaz, but it's a little deeper than that. There are unrealistic expectations, and then there's reality. After watching quite a few episodes of Pop the Balloon, I realized that a lot of women have unrealistic expectations, as if nothing is wrong with them. It was a lot of beggars trying to be choosers. I don't know if it's because we grew up with, dreaming of our dream wedding and our dream man, that we want him to come a certain way and be a certain height and have this certain money and all these things. And so when a typical man approaches you, you be like, I don't want that. Meanwhile, he's on your level. A lot of women don't want the male version of themselves. He's on your level. A lot of women don't want the male version of themselves. When you see the male version of yourself, you realize that you probably ain't crap either. When you find the male version of yourself and you don't like it, that's probably because you got some work to do as well. A lot of women are here and expecting a man to be here. And it's the same for men, because they be here and wanting a woman up here. If you have been doing the work on yourself and making sure that you are presentable, that your mind is renewed, that everything about you is what you're expecting of someone else, then it's no problem. But when you are not what you are requiring of someone else,
This is your invitation to create a no-face, no business live in 3 days.
it's time to look in the mirror. It's time to take some notes. It's time to make a change.
Ain't that the truth? A lot of these women, before they went to church, they was delusional. Before they joined the church, they was delusional. And now that they are, quote, in the church and they think that they are all saved and sanctified, I think they become more delusional because they think they are better than everybody else. I see a lot of women join the church and they totally up their standards. Then they think they are, the precious Lamb of God at that point. No man is good enough for them. That man got to be so perfect that he literally do not exist. Now, this is something I have seen.
you called it Jesus, right, James? But it was funny, like literally, and we've said this verse many times, but I just want to really say, show y'all the actual verse, right? Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 26:23, right? This is what we've been saying all the time, and that woman said it so eloquently. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord, right? And what's my point? My point is that, again, could you, maybe you're dating the male version of yourself, women. Men, maybe you're dating the female version of yourself. Like, if you're not content with these people, maybe it's you. This is why I've always been a strong advocate. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
I also want to throw another caveat in there, right? Where I was listening to this, it was a woman, a Hebrew woman called Call for Wisdom. Y'all should really check out her channel. She's really dope. But she was talking about, she's a strong advocate for polygyny. And she was saying that a lot of people need to stop complaining about, it's hard to find people. Because, again, if you're claiming that this person's a gem, right? Like the Proverbs 31 woman, her price is far above rubies, right? Like they comparing them to rare, precious items, right? If the person is rare, that means, you're going to have to go through a lot of dirt before you dig up the rare item. So she was like, yo, stop complaining that you're going through a lot of filth. And I was thinking about it. I was just like, yo, that's true too. Like if you really, I think that's also part of the searching process. Like assuming that this person that you desire, he's going to just fall out of nowhere and you're going to get it right the very first time. No, maybe there is some filth that you got to filter through before you find a person that's like, oh, okay, yeah, I found a gem. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, but you know, these women, they want to date guys that every other woman like. Irrespective of character.
True.
So I'm glad you brought up that verse, man, because it shows you that there's like attracts like.
That's it.
There's something they may not fully understand it, but there's something in their character that attracts these wicked ass men.
True.
And it's hard to uncover because people are multifaceted and people have different layers in them, but there's something in them that attracts that particular type of individual.
Bro, if you chat, please chime in. If they want a man that has 6 packs, now unless it's genetic, how in the world do you expect a man to have a 6-pack? Please chime in. How do you expect a man to have 6 packs? Wouldn't that man be constantly in the gym or very health conscious?
Yep.
And if he is health conscious, that brother, you don't think he's gonna want that in his woman? Can you present yourself as someone who doesn't take care of their temple and expect a man that has 6 packs?
Yep. Yep.
Danny Lyrica, that's what I'm saying. Work out regularly, diet, etc. Exactly. So if you don't even exhibit those traits, he's looking at you like, why the hell am I gonna take my disciplined self and be unequally yoked with you? Because I'm not here to try to drag you to the gym. No, if that's not something that, now don't get me wrong, you can help your partner, right? You could try to help them out, but there's a difference between, giving them a gentle nudge in the right direction versus you dragging somebody, because now that becomes a burden.
Mm-hmm.
No. You're gonna have to have that self motivation and drive within yourself.
That's part of unequally unyoked too. People think it's just religious, but it's about character as well.
Facts. And then we're not even talking about finances. Like if you full of debt, you want to do with 6 figures. This dude is probably looking at it like, yo, I'm not trying to bail you out of your debt that you got in yourself. So this is the reason why you said it, James, like attracts like. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why you tend to see many successful people link up with one another, because they both possess those qualities of handling their finances. Yeah. I'm not going to saddle up with a bum.
They want a wishing star. This is why I said in the beginning, they want Jesus. They want Superman. They don't want a real man. They don't.
Captain
criteria is way too high.
Come on, man.
Personally, for myself, for someone who has grew up in the church and even have joined different churches in different states, the church is encouraging these single women to stay single. In the church specifically, I'm meaning the pastor, the minister. He is encouraging these women to not date, don't have sex before marriage, fall into lust and fornication, which is true. There's nothing wrong with those things if that's how you choose to live your life. But it's just the fact that it's not realistic if you want to date and find a husband in 2025. There's a very low percentage of men who would go for that, dealing with a woman for years and you two don't even have sex. These cricket churches, I must say, they do need people to pay monthly fees to keep the lights on, to keep the building going, to pay their salary. We all know how the church works. A lot of these churches are just filled with single women in them. And sometimes they don't do enough to help these women meet men. That's all I got in this video. You guys be sure to drop a comment down below and you let me know.
And then you see that? Do y'all see with this same point of view? People think y'all just ghetto, but y'all be at church every Sunday. And this is what I'm talking about. They dancing, they chefing it up, right? Just like they're doing the dances. And it's like, yeah, right? And don't get me wrong, again, I'm not trying to be too religious. You could do that, but again, just understand that if that's what you choose to present and you claim you want a godly man, he's probably looking at that. He's probably just like, nah, I'm cool. I'm cool off that. I'm cool off of that. You know what I'm saying? I think even to Brother Lamar's comment, I think earlier in the chat, where he said that, nah, I'm going to keep it a stack. I like cheeks, but when I'm considering a woman for a wife and she's walking around in public with damn near a thong, is that something you would want to take serious? You see, these are the kind of questions. You see, like a guy, a very disciplined man, they have eyes just like any other man. They will see it. Yeah, they might, okay, you might even break his neck, right? He might do a double take, like, oh my gosh, what's that? You might get him to do that, but guess what? He's not gonna
Hypnotized.
wife it. He's not gonna wife it. He's not gonna wife it. Again, you gotta think about it. Joseph ran away from Potiphar's wife. That's what godly men do. When they see any hint that you're not a woman that he can be saddled up with, they're gonna run away. Now we know that was the instance of adultery, but you get my point. A lot of these guys, I don't think they really understand what it means for them to be saddled up with a godly man. And I think fundamentally it's a lack of accountability. You could blame the church all day, and that's cool and all, but I think it's 2025 with the advent of social media. There's a bunch of people that actually is sending the right message.
Nah, they lying to themselves, because we're talking about guys like Elijah, who are sarcastic in nature, right? Who actually love confrontation against the enemy. We're talking about Joshua, who loved warfare, right? We talking about Moses. These guys were strong men. Strong men. Women claim they want a man like that, but when they meet the man like that, they fold under pressure. They say he's too controlling. They say he's too manipulative. They say all of this stuff. They don't want that. They don't want that. They're lying to themselves.
Yeah.
Look, I said what I had to say already. It's a matter of a cultural differences. The church is not practicing culture. They're not practicing the Bible. Everything is out of order. Rewind this video over and over and peep the message. All right. So that's what I got to say.
All right. So let me see. House of Lamar saying a woman recently told me I was too militant. Man, that's crazy. He says also, at the end of the day, we're men, but we are also tasked with being sober-minded. I find that a lot of women are taking advantage of that in order to tie down successful men. Man, this is crazy, man. Look, you guys, I do have to head out soon, but I'll just say this, man. I couldn't say any better than what you said, James. Like we're dealing with a cultural paradigm that is opposed to the culture that the Bible was actually promoting. And as a result, if you try to opt in to the world's version of dating and anything of that sort, then hey, just know that don't be asking for no biblical man. These men, they fleeing the church, they fleeing, sexual immorality, they fleeing these things, and it's just like, and I'm gonna keep it even a buck. I'll keep it even more of a buck, right? When the men and women, we're not the same, right? And I'm saying that for a reason, because men, they can actually bring women, quote unquote, from outside, and if they convert them, they equally yoked. And he's like, they can actually operate in that fashion, because again, the woman is supposed to submit to the man. Now, women, if you here try to play the same game, and now you here submitting to the man of in the world, you in some deep shit. And this is the kind of stuff we're talking about, where it's just like, if men could operate in that nature, right? Then why in the world are they gonna go to the women in the quote unquote church? You see, this is what we're talking about. Danny Lilker said on some Ruth situation, right? Yeah, Ruth was a Moabite, but she had to cleave onto Israel. So this is what I'm saying. Like, men could do that all the time. They could go out there. You know what? If I don't see what I'm looking for over here, Moses took the Ethiopian woman, right? We see this happen all the time. They take women from other nations. They can convert them to the law, statute, and commandment, and they're good. But the women, you try to play that same game, all right, and then you find yourself getting burned. I think the biggest thing that women need to do is really just submit to men. That's your answer. Like really start submitting to men and stop listening to these feminist women at the pulpit and some of these feminist men too. There's feminist men out there. Stop listening to these people. But it's that Jezebel spirit that's on church, bro. Hey. Anyway, we guys, again, I do have to go. You guys really appreciate the conversation today. I appreciate all those who showed love. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, do all of that. Please share as well. Please do us a favor. Please, outside of the live chat, please leave an actual comment on the regular chat section of the YouTube video because that really does help. Anyway, y'all.
And share the video with other women in the church so they can listen to, some sound wisdom. Right? share this with all the church going women so that way they can come to some Yo, it's crazy. Yo, man, I should be a pastor, yo, because seriously, this is out of order.
All right, with that being said, Nick James over and out. Jesus King, y'all.
Peace.